for the second session. I'm brief about him. The Dr. Ananda Balayogi Bhavani, Yogacharya by himself. Anand Balayogi Bhavani is a director of Center of Yoga Therapy Foundation and Research and professor of yoga therapy at Sri Balaji Vidyapeeth University, Pondicherry. He is also chairman of International Center for Yoga Education and Research at Anand Ashram, Pondicherry. And he is a gold medalist in medical studies with postgraduate diploma in both family health as well as the yoga and the advanced diploma in yoga education. A fellow from the Indian Academy of Yoga. He has authored 19 DVDs, 23 books on yoga, as well as published more than 200 papers in the national and international journals. And his literary works are more than 1,450 citations with H index of 19 and I index of 33. In addition, he is a classical Indian vocalist, Mridangam Vidwan, and music composer, choreographer of Indian classical dance. And his esteemed self shall be delivering on his address on Maharshi Patanjali's Kriya Yoga as a therapeutic tool to manage stress. Now over to Professor Anand Balayogi Bhavani. Sir, please.
Namaste, and thank you for this wonderful opportunity. I will be needing to have a host privilege in order to share my PPT, or I need to be able to share it. So just to give you a head up on it, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the University, Lakshmibai National Institute of Physical Education, who are organizing this international webinar on yoga. And it was wonderful to listen to Professor Dilip Kumar Dhuria ji, the Honorable Vice Chancellor. And I thank you, sir, for making this event happen with your generosity and your vision. I also thank the Registrar, sir, Professor M.K. Singh ji, the head of the Department of Yogic Sciences, Professor Indu Bora ji, and Nibu Krishna ji for his welcome.
Hello.
And a special mention to my dear Lalita Gaurav, who has enabled me to connect with all of you in this very wonderful way.
Okay.
So it is also a privilege to be with my dear Sri Manoj Thakur ji. And I heard about half of your presentation before I had my computer restarted and I couldn't get back into the meeting. But really nice to connect with you. And similarly with my dear Vyas from Sri Lanka, who we have had a lot of interaction. And also June, it's a pleasure to meet you and looking forward to your session on the root of Japanese culture and yoga. Sounds very interesting, so I'm going to be logging in for that for sure. So I would just like to start off my talk, and I'm going to share my PowerPoint at this point, and take a topic which is very relevant because the whole of the Yoga Sutra is about us becoming the best version of ourselves. And in order for us to be the best version of ourselves, it is essential that we understand where we are and where we need to go and how we can go there. So basically, where are we now? Where do we need to go? How can we go there? That is the roadmap to liberation, Kaivalya, given by Maharshi Patanjali. And I often mention that Maharshi Patanjali is, to me, the time traveler. He is a time traveler and he is from the future. So he's gone back into the past and he is giving us this wonderful message, a very wonderful message that is a message for humanity that is enabling us to be the best version of ourselves. So here today the topic is Kriya Yoga as a therapeutic tool to manage klesha-induced stress. And I start off with an invocation to the Guru Parampara, who enabled me to be the best version of myself and share the knowledge of yoga with everyone. Yoga to me is life, yoga is love, and my very being. So I start off with a prayer to the Guru Parampara. Om Tad Paramparaye Vidmahe Jnanalingeshwaraya Dhimai Tanno Guru Prachodayat. Om Yoga Maharishi Dr. Swami Geetananda Giri Guru Maharaj Ki Jai. With the blessings of the Gurus, we go forward. And today I am representing Sri Balaji Vidyapeeth, a deemed to be university accredited with A grade by NAC, one of the top 100 universities in our beloved country, where we have a dedicated center for yoga therapy, education, and research called CITER. And our focus is on salutogenesis. So what is this salutogenesis? Salutogenesis is the concept of the focus on health. Salutare means health, and the genesis, what are the factors that enable us to attain health, maintain health, sustain health, and regain health. This is the focus of salutogenesis, and we are trying to move from pathogenesis, that is a focus on disease, to the focus on health. We need to move from roga and arogya to swasth. The concept of swasth is the traditional equivalent of this wonderful concept of salutogenesis. When we talk about yoga, we must remember it is not just a physical practice, because we are not just a physical being. We are a spirit, a spiritual being having a physical experience. And hence, mind-body medicine that has become so popular these days, I like to say yoga is the original mind-body medicine, because it works on the lifestyle aspects. We have all the lifestyle diseases, the NCDs, non-communicable diseases these days. And the reason we are struggling with them is our lifestyle is the problem. So if you want to get rid of the disease, you need to change the way you live. You want to live the same way and pop a pill, it's not going to work. You have to change your way of achar, vichar, ahar, vihar, and vyavahar. Healthy physical activities and exercise, healthy thought patterns and attitudes, healthy diet, healthy recreation, and healthy relationships. Yoga is all about connectivity. How do you relate to yourself? How do you relate to other people? How do you relate to humanity and the universe itself? That connectivity, yoga is all about connectivity and connection. If we look at the concept of the definition of health that was described by our registrar sir this morning, he was talking about the definition of health by the World Health Organization that talks about health as a dynamic state of complete physical, mental, social, and spiritual well-being, and not merely the absence of disease. Well, the Ashtanga Yoga of Maharishi Patanjali already deals with this. And if you look at the Ashtanga, you will see that Yama and Niyama, they are enabling us to have social health. Because the Yama are teaching us not to be subhuman, and the Niyama are teaching us how to have humaneness. So don't be a subhuman being. That is the nose of the Yama. Ahimsa Satya Asteya Brahmacharya Aparigraha Yamaha. They are telling us, don't be less than a human being. And the Niyama, Saucha Santosha Tapaswadhyaya Ishvara Pranidanani. They are our niyamas. So these niyamas are enabling us to be a true human being. We have been born human, but are we living human? We are always living like subhuman beings. And that is why the Yama Niyama give us social health. The asana and the pranayama, they enable the physical health to manifest. The physical health is so important to be manifesting, because the physical health, we can work with the asanas and pranayamas that enable the physical health through the body postures and the energy modulation through the breath. Then we come to the next aspect, mental health, which is the pratyahara dharana. As you start to take your indriyas inside, the indriyas have to withdraw. It's not withdrawing from the sense. The senses are going to be going out. You are withdrawing yourself from the sense. So it is the withdrawal from the senses when you go in. And then your mind is ready for ekagrata, which is dharana. It is said that pranayama is the foundation on which dharana can be built. Dharana sucha yogyata manasaha. But people want to go straight to meditation without first working on the body or the breath or learning to focus the mind, because they think sitting quietly is meditation. Closing your eyes and sitting is closing your eyes and sitting. It is not meditation. Dhyanam is a state of being that has to be earned. Yogyata has to be there. Dharana sucha yogyata manasaha. Your mind has to be fit for it. And that is why the previous angas of the Ashtanga are so important. And when that happens, then we are ready for what is called spiritual health. That dhyanam and the samadhi state, the state of oneness, the state of absorption, where you are connected, you are one with the universe. So all the four domains that the World Health Organization talks about, physical health, mental health, social health, and spiritual health, well, the Ashtanga Yoga of Maharishi Patanjali is strengthening all those. When we talk about the mechanisms of yoga, the base of the pyramid is the integration of breath pattern with coordinated smooth body movements. You are not just moving, jumping, but you are moving. As you breathe in, you are moving up. As you breathe out, you're moving, come down. As you breathe in, you lift. As you breathe out, you lower. There is that integration of the breathing pattern with the coordinated smooth movements. You are becoming focused on the present moment, the now. Not what happened yesterday, not what will happen tomorrow, but what is happening right now. That is where your focus is, in the kshana. That is why Patanjali starts off, Atha Yoga Anushasanam. It is in the Atha, the present moment, that yoga occurs. Yoga is not yesterday or tomorrow. Yoga is right now. What you are right now is what yoga is all about. Because yoga is about being, not doing. And we have forgotten, we are human beings. We are always doing. So we say, when we meet somebody, how do you do? The next question, why do you do? When do you do? What will happen if you don't do? Always doing, doing, doing. When we introduce ourselves, we introduce based on what we are doing. See, what we are being is most important. Human being. That is the Manushya Dharma. To be the best human that you can be in this lifetime. When the body is stilled, the mind starts to calm down. When the breath is steady, the emotions become more balanced. And at that point, all aspects of human psychophysiological function, all of them improve. That is the beauty of the practices of yoga. The healthy improvements in physical, mental, emotional, and social well-being, they enable the attainment of the highest physical, mental, emotional, social, and spiritual potential. And we have the enhanced ability to manage omnipresent stressors and thrive positively in all aspects of human life. This is how yoga is helping us. And a very beautiful concept map by my dear Satbir Khalsa, who works at Harvard in the USA. How the yoga practices, the postures, the breathing, the relaxation, the meditation, they enable fitness, they enable self-regulation, awareness, and spirituality, thus helping in the global human functionality. The whole global human functionality is enhanced by yoga. What is the goal of the limbs of yoga? According to Patanjali, the purpose is Yoganga Anushtanat Ashuddhik Shaye Jnana Deepti Aviveka Khyate. That is the goal. Along the path, we have all the rest of the side benefits of yoga. As a medical doctor, if I prescribe a medicine for somebody, along with the effects, there will be the side effects. But with yoga, along with the effect, the main effect for which you are doing it, there will be the side benefits. So yoga has side benefits, and yoga reduces the side effects of modern medicine. This is why in our hospital, along with modern medicine, we have yoga therapy. It is an integrated, collaborative therapy. And what we find, that drug dosage can be reduced. People start to have a beautiful sense of, I am well, I am feeling better, which is what they want. Nobody cares about the blood sugar or blood pressure values. They want to have a sense of, I am healthy. Hamara paas to swasth hai. That is what they want. Hamara paas to hum to arogya hai. That is what they want to feel. Not all these values that we doctors talk about. Coming to it, that is why a beautiful concept of the limbs of yoga. And I want to share, for the first time I'm sharing this, a very beautiful mandala shape by the beyoga.com. And they have given a beautiful concept of how the Ashtanga, we often think of the Ashtanga as steps, as a ladder, but they have said how they're all interconnected and they're all one, which is what the Ashtanga means, they are limbs. And you can see this outer layer, the yama, the next layer, the niyama, then the asana, the pranayama, pratyahara, this is the dhyana, and then the whole thing makes the samadhi. Samadhi is when all the limbs come together, all the pieces come together, and you have that Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate, that Purnam manifests. That is the beauty of all of this. So coming now to the major concept of my topic today, Kriya Yoga. According to Patanjali, Tapaswadhyaya Ishvara Pranidhanani Kriya Yoga. Kriya Yoga is the intensive self-discipline. That is the tapa. Introspective self-analysis, which is Swadhyaya, and surrender, giving over to the universal will after doing one's best. You have to first do your best, then you leave the rest. And he says, Kriya Yoga is therefore Samadhi Bhavanartha Klesha Tanukaranarthascha, to reduce the kleshas and enable Samadhi to manifest. So what are these kleshas? Avidya, Asmita, Raga, Dvesha, Abhiniveshaha, Pancha Kleshaha. The 5 kleshas are avidya. These are the inborn psychological afflictions. They distort our perception, and they are ignorance, false identity, attraction and repulsion, and the survival instinct. So if you look at this diagram, you'll see at the top, what do you see at the top? The reality, the sat. And what is happening? Ignorance, the ego, the likes and dislikes, the distorting. And then abhinivesha, the clinging to life, that the final image that you are perceiving is so distorted that it is not the reality at all. That is why it is often said, you do not perceive things as they are. You perceive as you are. So if you are distorted, you will perceive everybody as distorted. If you are unhappy, you will perceive everyone as unhappy. And that is actually where we have. We need to understand the reality and outgrow the kleshas. What is this avidya? People think avidya means not knowing. It is not the not knowing. It is the confused knowing. So you think you know, but you don't know. Hindi mein bolte pada likha unpad. Tamil la solla pona padicha mundam, they call it. That is what happens is you think you know it, but you don't know. You don't know that you don't know. And that is what is avidya. It is the failure to discriminate between the permanent and the impermanent. Anitya, asuchi, dukkha, anatmasu, nitya, suchi, sukha, atmakyati, avidya. It is the failure to discriminate between the permanent and the impermanent. The anitya, you are clinging into the impermanent, saying this is permanent. And that is why you have stress. You are clinging to the impure, the asuchi, thinking it is saucha. You are clinging to the non-self, the anatma, and you are clinging to dukkha, thinking it is sukha. That is why Patanjali says, dukkhameva sarvam vivekinaha. And same thing Buddha also says, everything is suffering for the one who has that viveka. The pancha kleshas, they are distorting everything. And this results in people often claiming ownership on the suffering. You often hear people saying, my problem. Patients come to me, they say, my disease. As they say, my diabetes or my hypertension. And again, many times the patient comes, I say, namaste, who are you? And they say, I am a diabetic. I am a cancer patient. उन्होंने disease में identify पूरा कर दिया that they are the disease. They have claimed ownership. And you know, in our country, right from the time of Mahabharata, once somebody has claimed ownership of something, they will not give up. And what has happened? We are claiming ownership of our problems. We are claiming ownership of suffering. And once we claim our suffering as property, it cannot be alleviated. No amount of yogasana, pranayama, any drugs, intravenous, vaccine, nothing will work because they have decided they are the disease. So if there's no disease, they don't exist. And that is why the first thing I tell people is say the diabetes, don't say my diabetes. I am a person who is having diabetes, which is an unwelcome visitor, and I want to get rid of it. The moment you can create that separation between them and the disease, you can start to cure them. But if there is a oneness of the person and the disease, you can never cure them because they don't want to let go of the self-identity. This is why my father, Swami Geetananda Giri, so beautifully told me, you don't have problems, Ananda, you are the problem. उसका मतलब क्या है? हमारा perception तो problem पैदा होते हैं. The problem starts, the birth of the problem is our perception, our ignorance, our egoism, our likes and dislikes. Kleshas, and how do they exist? They exist in multiple forms. Dormant, attenuated, manifest or overpowering. Patanjali says, avidya kshetram. Avidya is the field. Avidya kshetram uttaresham prasupta tanu vicchinna udharana. Anitya asuchi dukkha anatmasu nitya suchi sukha atmakyatir avidya. And he says, why does the ego come? You have misunderstood and you think the tool is the main thing. The knife is thinking it is cutting. The pen is thinking it is writing. We are only a tool for the universe. That is called Nimitta Bhava. Narayana Bhava, Narayana Arpana Bhava, and Nimitta Bhava, that we are just the tool. And automatically the ego is brought under control when we have that. Because of this false identity, I don't know who I am, I've confused it. So I think I am me, I have a name, I have a nationality, I have some degrees, I have some position, I have a bank account, and so now I like something and I dislike something. The raga and dvesha come because of asmita. Asmita comes because of avidya. That is why the Guru is the one who enables ajnana timirandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurun militam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha, enabling us to see what the reality is. And then comes the last one, which is so predominant today in COVID-19 times, abhinivesha. Somehow I have to survive. I don't care if everybody dies, I have to survive at any cost because I am me. And Swarasabahi Vidusho Api, even the most Vidusho Api, the learned people, they are caught in the survival instinct. Somehow I have to survive. My job has to survive. My family has to survive. My nation has to survive. Survival, survival, survival. That is causing all the stress. So Patanjali says, how can you get rid of the kleshas? He says there's a triple vaccine. People are looking for vaccines for COVID-19. Patanjali gives us the first triple vaccine. He says if you want to get rid of the kleshas, you have to work with Kriya Yoga. Tapas Swadhyaya Ishvara Pranidhana. That is the way to deal with the whole thing. And he says, Te pratiprasavaheyaha sukshmaha. You have to enable them to go back to the source and eradicate them. How can that happen? Dhyanaheyaha tadvrittayaha. through that meditative awareness. That is why the whole of yoga is based on yoga's chitta vritti nirodha. As long as the chitta is caught up in the vrittis, you are not yourself. Because you have taken on the form of the vritti. Vritti sarupyam itaratva. You have forgotten who you are. And when the chitta vritti nirodha, the transcendence, people say control, I say transcendence of the vrittis. The vrittis will be there. You have come out of that cage. The animals are still in the cage. The snake is still in the well. You have come out of the well, that's all. You are not controlling the animal in the cage. You have come out of it. That transcendence is chitta vritti nirodha. And that is the most important aspect. Because then tada drishtu swarupe avasthanam can occur. You can understand who you really are and get on the path of yoga. The kleshas are the root of karma. Klesha moola karma shaya drishta adrishta janma vedaniyaha. All the suffering is because of the kleshas. And he says, as long as they are there, our jati ayur bhoga, jati ayur bhoga will be there. And he says, these may be pleasurable or painful. So the chitta vikshepa, this is the very important concept of where stress comes. The kleshas, avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha, along with the obstacles on the path of yoga, vyadis, dhyana, samshaya, pramada, alasya, abhirati, Granti darshana alabdha bhumikatva anavasti tattvani chitta vikshepate antaraya. And along with that, dukkha manasya angami jayatva shwasa prashwasa vikshepa sahabhuvaha. These are the obstacles we are dealing with when we take up yoga sadhana. Yoga sadhana is not just standing on your head. It is learning to have balance wherever you are standing. The root meaning of the word asana is to be. To be. Like human being. Asana means to be. What is your asana? My father would ask. It means where are you stable? Where is your sthira sukham occurring in you? That is your asana. And that is why yoga is more about what is happening in the mind, the attitudes. This is where the Kriya Yoga, Tapaswadhyaya, Ishvara Pranidhana comes in. Because even the great Buddha tells us, the root of all suffering is attachment. If you are not attached, there is no suffering. And that is why Vairagya has to come with Abhyasa. Both Yogeshwar Krishna and Maharishi Patanjali tell us the same thing. Abhyasa, Vairagya are most important. Without Abhyasa and Vairagya, both have to be there. And this is where comes the message that we are in ordinary life, Samanya, Manushya, what we are doing, the molehill, thode se ek molehill hai bas itna hai. What do we do? Because it is our molehill, it becomes the mountain. Making the molehill to the mountain, this is the common person. छोटा से एक प्रॉब्लम है, उसको बड़ा करने में हमको डबल डॉक्टरेट पीएचडी मिल गया, क्योंकि इतना तो करते हम लोग. We are masters and doctorates, a PhD, double post doctorate in how to make a mountain out of a molehill. Molehill have problem. You know what happened? Bas, it keeps on adding, and suddenly the mountain is there. That is why the yogic perspective is the opposite perspective. You make the problem, which is a mountain, you make it a molehill and you can overcome it. This is why Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita tells us, Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagrati samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato muni. That the perspective is night and day. You say, what is day in India is night in the USA. What is day in the USA is night in India. Lord Krishna knew about time zones even at that time. It is a perspective, a world of difference. That is why the yogic perspective, yoga drishti, is so important to develop, the yoga bhavana. And the key word, vairagya, the key. And where is that key going? Inside our head. That key is vairagya. You have in your head and open up your head. Because this is the dispassionate, non-attached, objective, metacognitive perspective that comes from the Ajna Chakra, where you see things as they are, not as you are. You are not limited by your prejudices anymore. And that is why what is so important, the Bhagavad Gita gives us the message. Tam vidya dukkha samyoga viyogam yoga samyitam. He says, yoga is the dynamic state of disentanglement. We are always identifying with suffering. You remember people saying, my disease, I am diabetic. That is the dukkha samyoga. And yoga is the viyogam of it. The one place where yoga is described as viyogam. Always we say yoga is joining. But in the Bhagavad Gita, this definition tells us dukkha samyoga viyogam yoga sangita. That is what yoga is. When you can take a step back from the problem, you will realize the problem is not a problem at all. You were the problem. You come out of it, the problem has solved. This is why if you sleep overnight and get up in the morning, many problems are solved. But what do? We stay awake trying to solve the problem and we make it worse. Yoga practices, when done mindfully, they strengthen our immune system by inducing a sense of empowerment and self-confidence. They help us regain the cortical control. If you look at this diagram, you will see this is the cortex. The top here is the cortical part. And this is the limbic part. The limbic part is always feeling and emoting and getting angry and getting sad and, oh, she did that, oh, she did that, oh, she did that, oh, he did that, oh, they said that to me, oh, what do I do? And we go mad with that emotional overreaction. And that is why this part says, hey, they said it for your good, yeah. Why you are so worried? Perspective change ho jata hai. Perspective change hone se stress to kam ho jata hai immediately. And that is why this is so important. It is called psychoneuroimmunology. How the thought and emotion can affect our immune system. Stress, fear, negative emotion, they weaken the immune system. The more you say, oh my God, what will happen? Oh my God, what will happen? Oh my God, what will happen? You have just made all that, whatever you didn't want to happen, you have made it happen. Because of your negativity. When you focus on negativity, you will empower negativity. When you focus on positivity, you empower positivity. Choice is yours. It is our choice what we will focus on. Yoga, and remember, Dhyanam is an integral component of yoga. Let us not say yoga and meditation, let us say yoga itself, because yoga includes Dhyanam in it. Dhyana is an integral component of yoga, but in modern times, the last 50 years, thanks to Mahesh Yogi and the Beatles, the word meditation became popular, so we say yoga and meditation. And it has become a popular word. But at least I think we need to regain our culture. We need to re-establish the fact that Dhyanam is an integral component of yoga, because yoga is not just Shirsasana. Yoga is that Samadhi. Yoga and Samadhi are one and the same. That is why yoga, mindfulness, positive emotions and relaxation, they strengthen the immune system. Our whole psychoneuroimmunology is strengthened. This is where the behavior comes in. How we behave is basically our thoughts and emotions. It affects our brain and nervous system, our endocrine system, and our immune system. And that is how the psychoneuroimmunology, the nervous system, the immune, the endocrine system. If you look at that inside, you see the stressor. What does stress do? It creates a negative cycle. So the negativity goes into the nervous system, the negativity goes into the immune system, the negativity goes into the endocrine system, and you are digging yourself deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into the problem. It is said when you are in quicksand, you know quicksand? If you are stuck in quicksand, they say stop moving. Because if you keep moving, you'll go deeper into it. And what do we do when we have the problem? Instead of stop, we should stop thinking about it. We'll solve it. We think, I am going to think and think and think, and by thinking, we actually worsen it. That is a very important aspect. The limbic system is where all of this, the kleshas are very much related to the limbic system, the likes and the dislikes. The raga and dvesha are constantly creating a fear complex, the amygdala, the hippocampus, the cingulate gyrus. They are constantly creating this turmoil. And that is why we need to go towards a state of Abhayam. Abhayam is the most important one. All the Indian deity, all the gods in Asian culture, you will find them, be it Buddha, Mahavira, Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Krishna, whoever it may be, always Abhaya Hasta. This Abhaya Hasta says, fear not. Why you have Bhayam? Bhayam ka matlab kya hai? Chinta mat karo, hum hai aapka saath. Hum hai tera paas. As Kabir Das say, why you are going, Moko, why you are going and looking every place? I am with you. when I am with you, why you are afraid? And we say in Tamil, Lord Muruga says that. And this is how this whole thing comes in. All these beautiful, look at these beautiful cells, natural killer cells, macrophages and all of them, they are affected by the stress coming into the hypothalamus, coming down the endocrine system, coming down through the vagal and the sympathetic nervous system, the autonomic. So the HPA, hypothalamo-pituitary adrenal axis, and the hypothalamo-sympatho-adrenal axis, which is the other one, which is the autonomic function. And they all affect your immune function, the thymus, the immune cells, the bone marrow and all. And that is why my father, Swami Geetananda, used to say, the first disease is the sense of duality. From duality comes fear. From fear comes imbalance of mind, leading to disease of the body. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, the biggest Upanishad, tells us that from Dvaitam comes Bhayam. Bhayam comes from Dvaitam. You are different than me, and so I am afraid of you. If I say you and me are one and the same, where is the fear? When the mind and body think that they are not the same, disease occurs. When yoga brings the mind and body together, Jivatma and Paramatma come together. The body, mind, the soul, the spirit, they all come together. In that oneness, there is no fear. Abhayam. That is why 5,000 years ago, the Yoga Vashishta talks about Adija Vyadi, Anadija Vyadi. That is leading to the Vyadi in the physical body. The Adi from the Manomaya Kosha and above. That Dvaitam is coming down through the Pranamaya and finally into the Annamaya. Ajiranatvam, Atijiranatvam, Kujiranatvam. And usually this is translated as digestion. I have changed it to a modern perspective that it is cellular activity. Because in modern medicine, if I say disease is because of low digestion, high digestion, the doctors, they say, well, something is wrong with you people. They don't understand it. But if I say it is cellular activity, metabolic activity, immediately you know every cell, it needs to function at the optimal level. If the cell is functioning lower than optimum, more than optimum, or the cell is doing something it is not supposed to do. Liver cell wants to be a kidney cell wants to be a brain cell wants to be a lung cell, because they are not at ease with themselves. Like all of our children, everybody wants a father whose next door father is better, that other girl's mother is better than my mother, and everybody's wife or husband, the next door person has a better wife or better husband. See, what you have in life, that is what you have to learn to love. Either love it or live it. And best is if you can love and live it together. That is what yoga says. Quantitative and qualitative should be there. Dr. Selva-Murthy, one of my mentors, who was the director of DRDO, Defense Research and Development Organization, Government of India, very close friend of our past president, Sri Abdul Kalam ji. He, when he visited us recently, he's a yogi. He's a physiologist, scientist, but he's a yogi. Okay, and I don't use that word easily. A yogi is a very high word in my mind. He said, yoga enables and empowers the individual to modify the perception of stress. So first thing, you modify your perception. Second, optimize the response. And third, release the pent-up stress. So the first thing is you have to change your perception of the stress, the yoga bhavana. Optimize the response, that is the yoga practices. And letting go is where you say, I don't want to hold on to the problem, I let it go. I throw it away. The more the problem you put into yourself, the bigger it becomes. The more the junk food you eat, the more the junk you become. That is why what you put into yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, spiritually, financially, educational-wise, is what you become. So be careful what you put inside yourself. This is why if you look at the stress, it is all starting with perceived stress. And in all the yoga research, we find perceived stress scale, PSS. For those who are doing research, please note that PSS scale, perceived stress scale, in all the research, it shows that yoga reduces PSS. The person becomes more at ease with themselves. They are not perceiving things around them as being stressful. If you don't perceive something as stressful, you will not be stressed by it. And that is why my message for this is, if you don't let something stress you, it cannot stress you. Nothing can stress you if you don't allow it to stress you. You are the master of your stress response. Because otherwise, once the response starts, the dam has burst. After that, repair karna to bahut mushkil hai. That is why it is said in the Yoga Marga that the Karma Yoga is the path of tapas, the psychomotor domain, to act, to do. The Jnana Yoga Marga is the Swadhyaya, the cognitive domain, to know, to think. And Bhakti Yoga is Ishvara Pranidhana, the affective domain, to feel, to will. And this is from my dearest, another beautiful person in my life, Dr. B.R. Sharma, who retired from Kaivalya Dhamma and is now the Dean at Sri Sri University in Orissa. Very beautiful concept of the Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Marga as being part of the Kriya Yoga of Patanjali and the three domains of the psychology, psychomotor, cognitive and affective domains, they are working. That is why the Kaivalya Dhamma has given a beautiful model. Now, I am not belonging to Kaivalya Dhamma tradition, but I respect the tradition has given a beautiful model. That is what we should understand. We should understand that Anubhadra Kritavo Yanto Vishwataha. Let noble thoughts come from all directions to us. So they have created a model of 10 rounds of Anulom Vilom. This is the first part, Tapa. 10 rounds of Omkar as the Swadhyaya component and 10 rounds of Gayatri Mantra as the Ishvara Pranidhana component. So they have created a practice, a model of practice that works on Tapaswadhyaya, Ishvara Pranidhana, and they have done some very good work at Kaivalya Dhamma. I'm honored to be one of the visiting faculty and a very, very beautiful institute. And that is why John Milton, he was not a yogi, but he was an amazing mind. And he says, the mind can make a heaven out of a hell or a hell out of a heaven. I think this is the Yoga Bhavana. The Yoga Bhavana, where that molehill, people are making a mountain, you take the mountain, you make it a molehill, like Lord Krishna lifting the Govardhana Giri on his little finger. That mountain was made a molehill by Lord Krishna. Who is Krishna? Cosmic consciousness. Where is that cosmic consciousness? It is within each and every one of us. But instead of listening to Krishna, we are Arjuna. In Arjuna Vishada all the time. We are always in Dukkha because we don't know who we are. We have to have that Vishwarupa Darshana of the Krishna consciousness within us. And that is where everybody will have stress. I have stress, you have stress. Doesn't matter, all the faculty on this webinar, we also have stress. There's nobody without stress. But how you deal with it is the matter. You have stress, you look at it positively, it becomes eustress, E-U-S-T-R-E-S-S. Eustress is positive stress. And that is the H plus, salutogenic pathway. If you do not look at it positively, say, oh my God, I have a problem. Kya ho jata? Negatively, pathogenic, it becomes disease. So the choice between going on positive health, H plus, or negative health, H minus, is within us, which is why a beautiful statement. We need to be aware of the suffering, but retain our clarity, calmness, and strength so that we can help transform the situation. COVID-19, for me, is a catalyst of transformation. We as a human race, we have abused, misused, and disused this planet. We have disrespected our mother nature. Ancient Indian culture had reverence for culture. We understood that Mother Earth. We understood each of the elements as a manifestation of the divine. We say the Vayu is the Brahman. You are the manifestation of the Brahman. And that is why we need to again transform ourselves into a race. The humanity must be a race that respects the planet, respects nature, and realizes that we are only the caretaker. We are not the owner of the planet. We are the caretaker. And COVID-19 is a catalyst for this transformation where humanity may become the best version of itself. Because today is the past tomorrow. And that is why our free choice yesterday caused today's destiny. Today's free choice can make a better destiny tomorrow. What we choose to do now, Atha Yoga Anushasanam, what we choose to do now can change the future. Can we as humanity change the future of humanity? Well, the choice ultimately is ours and ours alone. And that is why a diamond is just a little piece of charcoal. that handle stress exceptionally well. If you can handle the stress, you will be the diamond. If not, you will remain charcoal. What do they do with charcoal? They just burn it, nothing else. And that is why for me, the highest attitude is gratitude. Without gratitude, nothing can be there in life. We need to be grateful for this human existence. Aridu maanida vai pirathal aridu says the Tamil Mudati Appai. To be born human is such a great gift. Can we make sure that we remain human and that we move from being human to humane and manifest our inherent divinity? As Swami Vivekananda said, all souls are potentially divine. May that divinity manifest through us. May it enable others to be blessed through us. This is my wish, and I'm leaving you with this thought today. And let us be the best version of ourselves. Let humanity 2020 be the best version of itself that it has ever been. And so with that, I am ending my presentation and handing over. I will just see where that post part is, and I will ask, how do I change this? 1 second. I should be able to change from host. 1 second. Oh, okay, fine. I was only co-host, so no issue. So I would like to thank you very much to the Vice Chancellor, sir, the Registrar, sir, the ma'am, Indu ma'am, the HOD of this wonderful department, Nibu Krishna ji for your beautiful introductions, and my dear Lalita Gaurav for saying, Dr. Ananda, will you be with us? It is such a pleasure to be with you and share my love, my life. That is what yoga is for me. Hari Om Tat Sat.
Thank you very much for your enlightened words. Now I'm requesting Professor Indu Bora for the question answering session. Over to Madam, please.
Thank you, sir, for such an enlightening lecture. And it was so clear. I think hardly any questions came except a few. And I would not even say there are questions, they are queries. First one came from your student, Dr. Lalita. She's asking how to perceive without any distortion and to accept life as it unfolds.
Wonderful question. Wonderful question. I think the most important aspect is vairagya. And what we need is a lot of empathy in the heart. That empathy can start to understand the other person's perspective. We need to put ourselves in the other person's shoes and try to see the same issue from their perspective. When we start practicing this, rather than say, I am right, I am right, I am right, only my view is correct, to say that what is the other person's view? Why are they doing it the way they are doing? What is the motive behind what they are doing? And the moment we start to expand our consciousness and our perspective, we start to understand other people better. And as we understand them better, we understand ourselves better. There's also a very important yoga practice called Brahma Mudra, where we turn the head to the right, to the left, up and down. And this is a practice we do with the breathing and we do with the nada. And when we do this practice, we are expanding our perspective. So somatopsychic benefits are starting to manifest. We use the body to change the way the mind works. And those interested, you can search for Bhavanani on YouTube. There are hundreds of free videos for you to download. Brahma Mudra is there.
Thank you, sir. I think the answer is clear. Another question is coming from Mr. Abhishek Pandey. He is asking that what is Sattvic Bhojan and Sattvic water in yoga philosophy and how it affects our behavior.
Very true. See, the concept of Sattvika, many people think everything vegetarian is Sattvic and everything non-veg is Tamasic. Now, if you take vegetarian food, you put it in the refrigerator for 4 days, then you heat it and eat it, it is the most Tamasic food possible. So it is not so simple that vegetarian is sattvic and non-vegetarian is tamasic. I think we need to understand how fresh the food is. The freshest the food, the more sattvic it is. The later you eat it, the more tamasic it becomes. This is one principle. Second, was that food obtained through violence? If that food was obtained through violence, it cannot be sattvic. Any food obtained through violence, any water obtained through violence. This is why I don't think bottled water can ever be sattvic. Because that bottled water has been made by multinational companies in a violent manner against local traditional communities. How can it be sattvic? So fresh water, fresh food, I always say the most sattvic is the sprouts. Because if you take the Navadanya and you sprout them, that growth, that energy that is there is a very beautiful energy. That energy is manifesting even as you eat that sprout. Now, if you take a fruit from a tree and immediately eat it, it still has that biogenic life energy. But you take that fruit, keep it for 5 days, there's no life energy. You buy an apple from Australia or South America, what energy will be in that fruit? So that fruit has now become tamasic. That is why sprout is the best one. Sprouts are regenerating. Whenever I have people who have degenerative diseases, it may be osteoarthritis, neck problems, back problems, the joint issues, or even the brain degeneration that occurs with dementia, Alzheimer's, etc. Sprouts are the best food because sprout is having regenerative. Kaya Kalpa is the energy of the sprout. It is biogenic. By the time you take that food and you keep it some time, it becomes bioactive. And then if it is decayed food, processed food, anything that is processed, it is biocidic, it is acidic, and it is going to kill your life. So I think very important is fresh food obtained without violence and cooked with love, cooked and served with love. That is why in traditional communities, people would only eat what their mother or the wife or sister made because they hoped the mother, wife, and sister loved them. And there was a lot of love in that food. You go to a 5-star hotel, you have no idea what that guy is thinking while he's making that food. It may be good for your tongue, but not for your soul.
Please unmute. Please unmute, ma'am. Please unmute.
Yes.
Sir, I was saying that participants are really loving your voice and the lecture. And our questions are coming in one after the other. Dr. Taraknath from Delhi, he's asking how gunas can manage klesh and reduce stress.
Very true. See the gunas and the kleshas, because the gunas have to be understood not just as tamasika, rajasika, sattvika, but even in tamasika, there is tamasika, rajasika, sattvika, tamasika. Similarly, in rajasika, tamasika, rajasika, sattvika, rajasika. And in sattva also we have tamasika, sattva, tamasika, rajasika, sattva, and sattvika, sattva. Now the kleshas are very tamasic and rajasic. The kleshas are not sattvic at all. Because the kleshas are like the impurity that is covering your glass. So as long as that impurity is covering, if my glasses are covered with mud, I will not be able to see you. That is what the kleshas are. So the kleshas are always going to be tamasika, sometimes rajasika, especially the raga dvesha are very rajasic. And I think at the sattvika level, you are actually learning to transcend the kleshas. And remember with the kleshas, they are prasupta tanu vichinna udaranam. So you think I don't have the klesha because at that time it is hidden. And then when that emergency comes, suddenly that abhinivesha is up there and you are pushing everybody out of the way to run out and jump through that elevator. So definitely, yes, the gunas and the doshas and the kleshas, they are all interconnected. And the yoga sadhana tells us, remember, tamasika guna is also important. Because tamasika guna is gravity. Tamasika guna is friction. So friction and gravity are necessary evil. If you don't have friction, you cannot walk. So tamasika guna has its role. But when you want to evolve, you want to move from Tamasika to Rajasika to Sattva. And remember, Sattva is not the end of the journey. Gunatita, Nirguna is the goal. So Kaivalya is where the gunas have gone into Prati Prasava Kaivalyam. And the guna has gone into Prati Prasava. And there you have Kaivalya occurring.
Thank you, sir. There is one term you had used in your lecture, that is salutogenes.
Yes.
So can you please explain?
Absolutely. It is my pet term. It was given by our previous Vice Chancellor, Seduraman sir, one of my medical gurus, who is currently in Malaysia. He is with the AIMS University in Malaysia as the Dean of Faculty of Medicine. Salutogenesis. Salu means health. It is a word that is coming from Latin, salu, salutare. Genesis is a Greek word which means birth, jananam. So the Indian Sanskrit word jananam is Genesis. So salu is basically to me swasth. This is how I look at these terms. We say it is Latin and Greek. I say India already had this thousands of years ago. In that we already had swasth. And that is why we say samadosha sama agnischa samadhatu malakriya prasanna atma indriya mana swastitya bhiriyate. Prasanna atma indriya mana, which modern medicine doesn't understand. It is such an amazing concept. So salutogenesis means we need to be able to have a sense of sukha sthanam. We need to have a sense of ease, that my world, I can understand my world. I can understand the meaning in my life. I can deal with my life. I can cope with my life. That is what salutogenesis is about. It is called sense of coherence, SOC, sense of coherence, which means that it is coherent. Life is coherent for you. You have a sense that my life is understandable, my life is manageable, and my life has meaning. That is what the concept of Purushartha was. That is what the concept of Swadharma was. The concept of finding our Dharma, Swadharma, as Lord Krishna reminds us in the Bhagavad Gita, live your Dharma, not somebody else's Dharma. That is the message of salutogenesis. So in short, it is focusing on health. So instead of saying, my knee is paining, my knee is paining, my knee is paining, my knee is paining, where your japa has become pain, 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 pain. And so the universe says, oh, you must like it. I'll give you a little more pain. Here, have another 1,000 kilos of pain. So what we need to focus is, may my knee be healthy. Health, 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 health. That is why the focus in India was always swasth. For me, the Indian definition of health as arogya is a pathogenic definition, because it is based on arogya. The absence of disease making health is arogya. It is a pathogenic definition. Swasth is a salutogenic definition of health. When you are yourself, when you are you, that is the moment. Tada drashtu swarupe avasthana. And then you are perfectly healthy.
Sir, there is another query, and one wants to know, whom do we call as the actual yogi? I know it is a very lengthy kind of, and one cannot learn in a single sentence, but still.
Tapasvibhyo adhiko yogi, jnanibhyo api madodikaha, karmabhyaschadiko yogi, tasmad yogi bhavajunaha, says Krishna. Who is the yogi? The one who is residing permanently in a state of yoga. What is that state of yoga? It is a state of Advaitam. It is a state where the sthira and sukha is manifesting. It is a state where the klesha and karma are not able to affect you anymore. It is a state where raga dvesha viyaptaistu vishaya nindrayascharan atma vashye vidayatma prasadam adhigacchati. That state you have transcended raga and dvesha, which are the kleshas. For me, in modern times, a yogi is a noble human being, a good human being. Because we have become human. We were Homo erectus, we became Homo sapien, we became Homo sapien supposed to be the intelligent human being. I doubt that. We called ourselves intelligent. It is like we give ourselves the doctorate. We said Homo sapien. I think the next level is Homo nobilis, the noble human being. For me, a yogi is a noble human being who is living dharma, who manifests Maitri Karuna Mudita Upekshanam Sukha Dukkha Punya Punya Vishayanam Bhavanatah, and he has that Chitta Prasadanam, that Sthita Prajna. That to me is what a yogi is.
Thank you, sir. There is one last request. I think if befitting the occasion and if you can do it, few lines of Carnatic music, if you can. This is the request of the participants.
Nirguna Parabrahma Swarupa Gama Gama Buddha Prapancha Rahita Nirguna Parabrahma Swarupa Gama Gama Buddha Prapancha Rahita Nija Guhanihita Nidanda Gananda Ananda Adishaya Akshaya Linga Ananda Adishaya Akshaya Linga Shambho Shiva Shambho Swayambho Shambho Shiva Shambho Swayambho Dimida Gita Taka Tum 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 Tom Tom Gita Dimigita Taka Tum Dimida Gita Taka Tum Tom Tom Gita Dimigita Taka Tum Malanga Munibala Bandida Isha Salvadi Gambala Veshtita Vesha Nitya Niranjana Nitya Nadisha Isha Sabesha Sarvesha Shambho Shiva Shambho Swayambho Shambho Shiva Shambho Swayambho Shiva Shambho Swayambho Shiva Shambho Swayambho Swayambho Swayambho.
धन्यवाद सर.
Thank you very much, sir.
पार्टिसिपेंट्स को क्या क्या समझ आया होगा, लेकिन डेफिनेटली आपकी आवाज दिल को जरूर छुई है. Thank you so much. I hand over the screen space to Nibhu, Dr. Nibhu Krishna.
Thank you very much, ma'am, and thank you, Dr. Balayogi sir, for such an enlightened words. And we would like to host you in the campus whenever we will be organizing any national or international conference. We love to see with you. Thank you very much.
It will be an honor for me to be with you, because wherever yoga is respected, wherever yoga is loved, those places, those people are beloved to me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your golden words. Now we come to the end of the today's session. I'll be going for the thanks. First of all, I'll be thanking the Mr. Manoj Thakur sir and Dr. Balayogi ji for your enlightening words. At the same time, I'll be thankful to the Honorable Vice Chancellor and the Registrar of the Institute. They have put the input to the participants. Now we'll be ending the session. Let us join for the prayer, and we will be joining the palms together for the Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, followed by Om Shanti Shanti. Take a deep breath. Eyes remains closed. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhave. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Slowly rub your palms. Make it hot. Place it to your eyes. Press your eyes with the heel of your hand. And very slowly massage your face. Thank you very much. And tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock, again we are meeting for the second meeting. Thank you. Have a nice day.